For years, Hollywood has been filled with stories of on-screen chemistry that hid behind-the-scenes feuds, but few were as intense or surprising as the one between Stewart Granger and his leading lady, Deborah Kerr. To audiences, the two looked perfectly matched. Elegant, sophisticated, and effortlessly charming. But what fans didn't see was the deep tension that simmered between them when the cameras stopped rolling. And now, after decades of rumors and whispers, we finally know the real reason why she utterly hated Stewart Granger. Stewart Granger was one of Britain's most successful exports to Hollywood. Known for his tall, debonair presence and commanding screen personality, he became a leading man in classic adventure films like Scaramouche, King Solomon's Mines, and Beau Brummel. He was the very definition of old-school masculinity, confident, proud, and often stubborn. Deborah Kerr, on the other hand, was regarded as one of the most refined and respected actresses of her generation. Graceful, professional, and deeply committed to her craft, she approached her work with quiet discipline. But when these two worlds collided, sparks flew, and not the romantic kind. Their feud reportedly began during the filming of King Solomon's Mines in 1950. Granger's larger-than-life personality often clashed with Kerr's reserved professionalism. Crew members later revealed that Granger's tendency to dominate both on and off set rubbed her the wrong way. He was charming to some, but to Deborah Kerr, his confidence often came across as arrogance. He had to be the center of attention, one production assistant recalled. Deborah wasn't impressed. She thought he was full of himself. Kerr, known for her quiet dignity, reportedly tolerated Granger's behavior for the sake of the film, but her patience wore thin as filming dragged on. The set was grueling. Long days, difficult conditions, and frequent disagreements between cast and crew. To make matters worse, Granger often made condescending remarks about her acting style, which infuriated Kerr. She later confided to close friends that working with him was one of the most unpleasant experiences of her career. Granger didn't hide his feelings either. In later interviews, he admitted that he found Kerr aloof and too proper for his taste, claiming that she lacked spontaneity. But those who knew Deborah said that she wasn't cold. She was simply professional and expected the same from her co-stars. She respected the work, one of her colleagues once said. She didn't care for actors who turned everything into a competition. As time went on, their relationship deteriorated completely. Even after the film's success, the two never worked together again. When asked years later about Granger, Kerr reportedly rolled her eyes and said, "Some people mistake arrogance for charm." That single remark spoke volumes. What many fans didn't know at the time was that Stewart Granger's off-screen reputation was already controversial. Known for his fiery temper and inflated ego, he often feuded with co-stars and directors. In his autobiography, he even admitted that he was difficult and didn't suffer fools gladly. But to women like Deborah Kerr, his behavior went beyond difficult. It was disrespectful. Over the years, the feud became one of Hollywood's most whispered-about stories. Insiders claimed that Kerr's dislike for Granger wasn't just about personality, but also about values. She saw him as someone who treated fame like a game, while she believed acting was an art. To her, his swagger and self-importance represented everything she despised about the industry. Ironically, both went on to have long, successful careers, each carving out their own legacy. Kerr earned multiple Academy Award nominations for her work in The King and I, From Here to Eternity, and heaven knows Mr. Allison. Granger, meanwhile, continued to star in adventure films and period dramas that showcased his charm and bravado. But despite their professional achievements, the tension between them has never been forgotten. Fans who adored their on-screen chemistry were shocked to learn the truth, that behind those smiles and steamy glances was genuine dislike. She utterly hated him, a longtime friend of Kerr once confirmed, and once Deborah decided she didn't like someone, she never changed her mind.